Everybody, this meeting is being recorded. I hope everybody's okay with that. Welcome to Wednesday. This is July, what, 8th? July 8th. Happy to see everybody. Let's see. Already 2 people chatted and I didn't even look. Okay, hi folks. So we're working off of the Hawaii Zoom now, so you know that. We've all been switched over. It's made me a little bit crazy trying to reconstruct a bunch of meetings. And all of our Zoom meetings must have passwords now. So that's for our safety. So I have a few things to update you guys on, and then leave it for questions. There was a survey, as you remember, done at the end of the spring semester. Survey went to students and survey went to faculty. And the results are in, and Kara from OFI has done a magnificent job of analyzing the data and visualizing the data. And we were waiting for the final okay from OFI to release it. And I have not had a chance to look at my email for the last 4 hours, so I don't know if maybe Kara was able to do something there. And I'm going to, Kara, are you on the call? Ms. Plamen-Wagner? Not yet. Okay, I'll come back to Kara. I was hoping to have it to you all today. She's done a terrific job, and it's really looking at our students' answers compared to all of the UHCCs and I think it's our faculty against others. And Roger Reed, who is now back on the mainland, his last, one of the last assignments that he did was to read through the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments and glean from them some themes. So that's also included in the, yay, Kara's on. Kara, I've been talking about the report, and I said I don't know if you were able to have it the okay to release it. So if you wanted to come on right now and give a little rundown, that would be great. Here she is.
Hi, sorry my audio wasn't working. So Bob gave us the permission to launch. So I believe we're talking about the survey, correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. So everyone, I'm going to put the link of the UHCC student survey results in the chat so you can follow along with me. And then also I can get that up on my screen. So let's see. Okay. Wonderful. And can I have a thumbs up if you can see this okay? Okay, I see. Awesome. Okay, great. Okay, so what I wanted to do is take quite a few different aspects of the data and combine them into one usable, user-friendly product for you folks. So you can see here right away, you get the content on the very first page. So you can look at just a snapshot. You can take a deeper dive into the UHCC summary, some of the response comparisons, analysis that our former Roger Reed did for us before he headed back to Washington, and then a message for going forward in the future. And then for those who are really into the details, there's the tables with the KCC numbers and percentages. So some of you may have seen this data dimensions snapshot, and this came out with our distance education newsletter. So this will be a new feature every month. And the format is going to be the same throughout, where you'll see a UHCC average percentage and then the KCC respondent percentage, and that's going to be the same. So these were some of the most popular answers featured here with the greatest percentages. So we can see that our students feel very, more than half of our students felt comfortable learning online despite that sudden transition. They also felt that their instructors were very responsive, and I thought that it was surprising to me to see that they're very favorable with the instructors, but for their own self-efficacy, that was a bit lower. So I'm wondering if anyone has any ideas around that, please share those in the chat. And then also, we already heard this, I think, the space for studying and collaborating with other students. Those were two factors that have been quite a challenge for our students going forward in the new COVID era. And finally, with the factors, more than half of our students have registered already for fall from the spring semester, so that was very positive. And let me look up, so I will find that out, Jan, and answer that later. Jan's asking how many Casey students were attending classes in spring, unless somebody has an answer. So it's 6%, 350. So if anyone wants to do the math or has that number memorized, go for it. And preference for face-to-face and also concerns about health and safety have been some factors for our students in registering for fall. Now, what follows then is some themes from the University of Hawaii. The community colleges, they put out their own themes. So across the campuses, you'll see that collaborating with students, that was the highest, no matter if you're on Kauai or the Big Island. The challenge is like figuring out how we can make it collaborative for our students. And then, of course, the study space again, and the internet and library resources was a challenge for some folks. Now, it seemed like more the continuing education, those were the issues compared to accessing services. That was less problematic. But for our students, just like all of the students across the UHCC system who took this survey, academic advising and financial services were issues. And then plans for fall, that some of these you saw on the previous page, but personal finances has been added here. And then what I did for the next sections is you'll see the question that the student was asked and the percentage of students who answered somewhat or extremely challenging, comparing what our students said with an average across the remaining community college campuses. And then these are put in descending order. So we have that the most, the biggest issues on tops, and just following that pattern. Are there any questions so far with what I've shown? Any surprises? So remember here that less is more. So we want the green bar to be shorter than the purple bar, and that may be an area where we're doing well. So from the academic to the services portion. So it wasn't Jan. So Jan had asked, how was collaborating with students defined? That's all that the UHCC had asked, was just collaborating with students. It didn't give deeper examples than that. So Jamie, we're going to make sure that this goes on the OFI website, and then you also all have the link now in the chat with the report. But I think this might be a hint that you want me to talk about August, when we're going to talk about it in more detail. Okay, she said no. So here, this is very promising that for our campus, 57% of our students, when this was taken the last week and a half of the spring semester, they had already registered for classes in fall or are planning to enroll. And I think that is wonderful. And we know from talking to professors and instructors and things that the planning to enroll, that we have quite a few students who will come will register later on. And this is more about the, once again, those factors. So remember, this is a smaller pool because this is just those folks who aren't coming back. So the finances, the preference for face-to-face, concerns about taking online classes. And for me, if I were taking this survey, I would have a hard time differentiating maybe between the preference for face-to-face and concerns about taking online classes. So I think that that was a little messy, but I'm just the messenger. So. Okay. So you'll all have access to this in the chat. We'll also get it on the OFI site. And then in the beginning of August, Jamie and I will be running a series of workshops to talk more about this data in detail. And of course, we also had some open-ended questions, and Roger Reed went through and he did all the heavy lifting and the deep diving to find out that for the responses for open-ended, students said the most important thing the college could do would be help with recording lectures and Zoom presentations, better communication with faculty, and provision of something to give that feeling of a face-to-face communication. Okay, and I'll get to that. Angela has some questions too about the when and the who. And in the student's words, so the on-demand communication aspect may be something that students were feeling. And finally, what's the biggest challenge? And I think this student was very abrupt, but maybe very real about how we're all feeling at times. So I thought that was provocative and interesting. And a side note from Dr. Reed from Roger was just that there wasn't much information around proctored exams. So that's interesting that it didn't come up. Only 3 mentioned it, and it was in a negative kind of connotation. Okay, so that's kind of the rundown. Please feel free to dive more deeply, reach out to me with any questions or concerns you have. And here are the appendix of the detailed tables. So I think, Angela, this will answer your first question, which is just how the respondents were calculated. So you can see here the total count. Oh, here's that 5803 that we made Chancellor dig around for. And then this response to the total head count versus, so this is all, and then this is the classified students. Does that answer that question, Angela? And then the dates of the survey were just the last week and a half of the spring semester. This was, I think this is, I'll look this up, Angela, while we go through and get going on the rest of the call today, but I'll put the comment if it's home-based or registered. But no, you know what? I'm sorry, registered, because some folks would have to take this they received it from more than one campus, from what I remember, from a conversation we had as a group. Any other questions regarding the data, the summary of the data, and the mini analysis?
We'll be sure to send this out to all of you through the CAC list, and expect the department chairs and unit heads and all of the folks who are on that list to distribute widely to the rest of the faculty and staff to see what's going on. Big question always with this is, what do you do with all this information? So first, thank you, Kara, for combing through all of this and making it actually understandable, first of all, appealing and actionable. We need to think about, what does this mean for how we teach online, how we communicate with students, and how we can help them. Kara, do you know anything about the faculty survey?
So just what I haven't dug into that too much, just what Roger had submitted, so no. No. But I can start looking at it. But I don't know, did you get something similar to what UHCC sent out for students? Did they give something similar to?
So. I'll dig through and find it.
Okay, if you do, then I'll make it look pretty and we'll go from there.
Okay, I will do that. Okay. Rate of re-enrollment at the end of spring, typical. I'd have to look back. It's pretty clear that we're not getting a lot of students back. When I look at previous years, I've got it on my screen, we were down like 10% in this year, which is what year is that? 2016, we dropped 10% of returning students that didn't re-enroll. And other times we were 3 or 4, but I would have to look a little bit more at different kinds of data to answer that question about what's our re-enrollment rate. Typically, spring to fall, I'm trying to think. We don't usually do spring to fall. We do, right, Kara? We do fall to spring and fall to fall, but I don't have spring to fall at the top of my mind. But maybe that's something, if you can find it, if it's done, it'll be somewhere. Will there be a similar survey given to prospective students for the fall semester, before, during, or at the end of the semester? I'm not aware of any plans for surveys. Maria or Kara, do you guys know of any survey plans?
I've not heard about anything for the upcoming semester yet.
The only thing we did this summer with Sherry and Tiana and Tao from Leeward is we looked at the next step students and what their plans were for fall. But I think this might be something we talk about with the folks who are doing all the new student orientations. That might be a way to plug in to those prospective students, or I guess, I'm sorry, it's prospective versus those who've already enrolled. So how can we reach the prospective students?
Yeah. Other questions for Kara? Data, if it's doing its job, generates more questions. So I'm happy to see that people are thinking about what else they want to know. These are important. Other thoughts before we let Kara go back to behind the screens? Thanks again, Kara. It's really good. Okay. Other things coming up. We did get a notification from SEVIS, actually SEVP, about international students. We thought it was an interesting document. It's not very clear for a government document. I'm surprised at how badly written it is. And there are questions of interpretation in the way that the guidance is given in terms of what is allowable online versus face-to-face. I don't believe that anything that we have done is outside the bounds. I think we're fine. It's just a question of what is the balance between hybrid versus online classes. And the HIC folks are doing some more research on trying to get that answer. UH Manoa put out something which was more clear than the government document. And there is hope that we will have a definitive answer, but I don't believe we need to change anything that we do in the way that we have structured our classes. From Mark Lawhorn today, I got notification that MIT and Harvard are suing the Trump administration for those very guidelines because of the way that they have described the constraints on totally online. And it's one of the things that I could not understand about the guidelines, which was framed about if the institution is online, or if the institution is face-to-face, or if the institution is hybrid. which doesn't make any sense. But Harvard and MIT are suing because the guidance says that students cannot be 100% online, or they cannot be enrolled at a 100% online institution and be in the US. They have to leave. And so MIT and Harvard are suing. So we'll see where that goes. So all of the faculty who made arrangements to have hybrid classes so that they could accommodate international students, I think you're fine. The question will be for us to determine how many of what kind of classes any particular student can take. So I think we're okay. Unless somebody else from HIC wants to jump in and provide additional information and or guidance at this point.
Hi, Chancellor.
Hi.
This is Sean. I think thank you for that explanation. Yeah, we are just waiting. We sent out that letter to SAVP yesterday. We reached out to Manoa too. I think Manoa is just, I don't think they reached out to SAVP. They just interpreted it one way, which is okay too. But we just want to make sure that you know, it's not being interpreted in another way, just to protect our institution and the students. So we did take that additional step. We will update you and the faculty as soon as we hear back. The last time we sent a request like this out, it did take a couple of weeks. Hopefully, given, you know, the fact that it's just been released a couple of days ago, hopefully we'll have a quicker turnaround time, but that's where we're at right now. And we are receiving, and thank you for all the faculty for all your patience on this too. We also have been receiving a number of emails directly from our international students as well as from our faculty. So this is a priority for us. And we are trying to work through this as best as possible and provide accurate and consistent. The key is consistency too. So even within our office, we're constantly discussing these issues to make sure that our messaging from HIC is also consistent as possible.
Right. Thank you, Sean. I'm happy that we have smart people looking out for the students. There is an app being created by the UH system for self-checking, so that every morning before we come to work, we will check in on the app and say, yes, I answered those 4 very important questions about how do I feel? Do I have a fever? Did I travel? Is anybody else sick in my family? So we expect that to be coming down at some point. There's also a new app for online applications to the UHCCs. And there will be some kind of press release, I think, in the next few days. It's been a while in being designed. It's gone through one kind and then that got abandoned, and now we have another online app. We expect it to be ready to go for spring 2021 registrations. And you can thank Jerry and Okawa and all the other registrars and folks who do student services. They had to go through a very compressed review period, very compressed beta testing of the app, and all at the same time that they were doing many other things. So we're thankful that they put all kinds of things aside to do the work of the system and for the students. Speaking of students, we are pushing students to do the FAFSA. So if you're talking to students, the first question you say, hi, how you doing? Did you do your FAFSA? That's what we want to have students have uppermost in their minds, because FAFSA gives them eligibility for all kinds of special funding, including CARES 1 funding. We gave out CARES 1 funding at the end of the spring semester. We are getting ready to launch the next wave of CARES 1 funding. And based on information that was shared with us chancellors, and we discussed for days and days and days about how to do this, this is how I think it's going to be. There will be a $500 award to students who have completed FAFSA and registered before July 31st. Guaranteed $500. So very important that they have a FAFSA done and that they apply and register before July 31. So when you're talking to students, hey, did you do your FAFSA? Hey, did you register? Hurry up, July 31st. And then that money will come to them. And then speaking of money, this Friday will end the legislative session. This Friday, the legislature will have its budget going forward to the governor. So it's not quite done because the governor gets it. The only thing we know is that it will be dire. It will be bad. It will not be good for the university. It will not be good for the state. Angela says, FAFSA done, or does it mean received at the institution? $500 is only if the students qualify for financial aid? No, it's not tied to financial aid, as far as I know. And does it mean, I don't know, Angela, what it means. I'm sorry. All the chancellors are talking about is get it done. And I don't know what done means in particular. Financial aid office, yes. So we need to make sure, and that was a conversation that we had, was we need to be ready at the college to help and make sure that the processing can happen. Other questions about that? There will be messaging that goes out. So all of this will make more sense when all the words are on the page, more than I can tell you right now. So budget on Friday, going to the governor, and it won't be good for us. Right now, our enrollment is down 13.9% compared to last fall. And if you look every day on the IRO website, you see it gets a little bit better every day. So there is some hope, but we will likely not get close to fall 19 numbers. The question is just how much will be below fall 19 numbers. Let's see. Back to the CARES money. The CARES money will not be dispersed by financial aid. It's going to be going through the business office. So it's not tied to financial aid. It's not part of the financial aid packet. So it doesn't get calculated as part of the financial aid stuff. It's a whole separate stream. We're doing a few outreach efforts to get more students to come to us. I'll be doing an info session along with Christy Malter and Noel on July 16th from 11 to 12 and 5 to 6. This is a Zoom meeting for parents and students to answer questions about what fall is like, hoping people can change their, I guess if they have hesitations, if they're unsure, we hope to give them some clarity and some assurance about what fall will be like. Shannon has roped a bunch of people into doing a calling campaign for the returning adults, which we're going to be doing in the next few days. Again, trying to get them to register before July 31st. That'll be a calling company there. Do we know which positions were saved from the legislative sweep of positions? Yes, but that's not going to be out until the session is done. So I really can't share that with you right now. There were decisions made by the ledge, but I'm not going to share that until the ledge is done because I don't know. They're still in session. I would prefer to wait until everything is dotted and cross the T's. Let's see. Lavashe is doing the same thing with FYE students. Yay. The more outreach we can do to the students, it makes a really big difference to have someone speak to them individually, as you know. I understand that the faculty union has communicated with its membership about the MOU that allows faculty to suspend the submission of either a tenure and or promotion document or a contract renewal in tenure promotion in October and contract renewal in September. So I received a copy of that, so I understand what those the new guidance is there. Thank you, Susan J.
Can I just say that I posted the link in the chat for people who didn't get it. It would have come to your personal email, not your UH email. So, but the link is there.
Okay. Have you had any questions from folks, Susan, since that came out?
No, I have not. But if you have any questions, you can direct them to me, but I'm just going to kick them up to the union. So I'll be happy to be your conduit, but I don't know anything more than is in the document.
Right. Any questions for anybody on that? Okay. Last thing on my list is campus guidelines. Thank you so much to the folks who worked very hard to put those guidelines together, and also to the folks who have been giving comments. I read through some of them, very insightful comments, really helpful. So thank you for that. Brian is now in the process of integrating those comments, making sure that he has things correctly and clearly, and those comments really did help. We're hoping that the guidelines, our campus-specific guidelines, can come out in the next few days. Hoping by the end of the week that Brian has an opportunity to fix everything up. And that's it from me. And the ELT, the rest of the ELT, apparently need not update you on anything. So, except for Joanne. I didn't get to ask Joanne. Joanne, do you have an update?
No, I'm good to go.
Okay, that's it. We're done. Okay, question from last week, Sheldon. Will there be a cutoff date on when instructors need to make a final decision on how they're going to be delivering their courses? I bet Nava'a and Jerry would love to know that. Are you guys done? We have to know that too for sending out the CARES money. People have to know. Any thoughts, Maria? No, Nava'a? Jerry, anybody?
We were hoping that it was gonna get done by June 30, but people are starting to rethink about things now, I guess, because of what's happening in the country, the numbers going up and all that. So there's been a few changes, but not that much. So I'm hoping by the middle of the month, we're done.
Gotta be.
So sorry to ask this. I know I work with a very small subset of students, but a lot of our high school students are waiting on the wings to see what's going to be delivered. A lot of the high school classes are kind of going through this weird scheduling change. And so they're looking at KCC to enroll in certain classes. So they want to know what's being offered, how it's being offered, so they can plan their high school schedule. So yeah, if it could be done soon, that'll be wonderful.
Right. Lavashe has the same comment. And Maria, I'm thinking it would be really good if we could have a flag that says it's done.
Yeah.
So that people know they're not still changing after today.
We've not had a few, we just had a few requests, right? No, ano ba? I'm gonna say no, yeah.
You better stop. Yeah, just a few. We had a couple that wanted to go to hybrid and some that wanted to go to DCO, distance completely online, but not that many.
So by the middle of the month, we're done.
Let's say that. Let's just say
Yes.
July 15th, there will be no further changes. And make that announcement public on our website or on class availability if can, just so that people have assurance.
Yeah.
And send it to all the students. No, Hayal's not on the call. He couldn't make it.
Chancellor?
Hold on, who's talking? Oh, is that Dave? Yes, Dave.
Oh, hi. No, I've said this on a couple of occasions, but I can't say it enough that the work that Nava'a has been doing on this has just been insane. You know, and he's up till 3 o'clock in the morning. But all, you know, in doing all of this, and as crazy as it is, and I'm sure, yeah, you know, he's definitely trying to hurt us cats. You know, he's done so with, you know, great patience and humor and, you know, good collegiality. So it's been, I mean, the amount of personal attention that we've gotten in host has been amazing. And I know he's doing it for every other department as well. So, you know, it's not just a slam dunk, but the thoughtfulness that he's put into his spreadsheets and the way those get updated and things like that. So, Brother Nava, I wanted to personally thank you on several occasions, and also, of course, Jerry too. You guys are just amazing. So thank you for what you're doing, but also thank you how you're doing it too. You really, really keep, I don't know how in God's name you're keeping this all straight. I really do.
I don't know either.
I think that's why
Yeah, apparently we're the only department that went with the 2 CRNs. I don't know if that's true, Nava.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure we got it figured out. I think Nevada does, but we'll hopefully catch up. Yeah. But anyway, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Any comments? Anybody want to say anything? Because we're done with the one ways.
Sorry, I just put in the comments, I just updated the report after some feedback, so that if you downloaded it earlier in this meeting, just wait another 5 minutes or so and re-download.
220 Grill is back in session, you guys. So if you're on campus, you could grab some really good lunch at the 220 Grill. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays only.
Do you have to order ahead of time?
I don't know. Does anybody know? I was going to do it today, but I was in meetings all the way through till 1 o'clock. Yes, you order ahead. Shannon, what's the scoops?
There's a link that says,
Grant, you're there. Tell us how to get our 220.
Yeah, so you can actually go in there and order. But we suggest that people fill in that form that's on the culinary website, and that way we can have that order ready, and we'll give you a call when the order is up. And you can actually order a day in advance as well, and we'll call you in the morning just to confirm your order.
It was in Campus Mail? News and events or what?
I believe they send it out news and events.
Okay.
We also have it in the culinary website.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, Grant, people want the link. Hurry up. That's the link.
Okay, I'll send it out.
Never mind. Shannon, get them.
Thanks, Shannon. Appreciate it.
Other thoughts? Darsh gave us the pre-order form. You got it, even a Yelp thing.
Will Maria be doing an update?
Nope.
Oh,
You got nothing to say, Candy. Go ahead.
nothing to say. What? I just have a couple things. I was going to ask Maria about faculty wearing the mask plus the visor, and if that has changed.
Luis can respond to that.
You're ducking.
Because you had the latest one.
This is not an easy area, mostly because there's different guidance, let's say. You know, Mayor Caldwell has said that masks are required indoors and outdoors and every door. So that's the mayor. The governor has mandated facial coverings as well. cloth coverings. So if we go by those two, then you are required to wear a cloth covering or some kind of a mask. Doesn't say shield, it says mask. CDC also says wear facial covering. Not a shield, but a facial covering. So that's, if we follow those words of advice, faculty would need to wear a mask. If they chose to wear a face shield on top of the mask, they could do that, but that the mask is foundational to personal safety.
You know, I was watching a PBS the other day, and I forgot what institution, that as long as the students were wearing masks, then they only had to be separated 3 feet apart. So it seems like it's just all over the board. And the reason why I'm asking this question again for the 10th time, I believe, so sorry about that, is I heard that they went to just shields. And so now we're back to mask and shield. So I'm just getting a lot of different information.
Yes.
The other thing I just wanted to clarify, somebody asked one of the faculty if they could submit their contract renewals electronically. My understanding is that they cannot do their contract renewals that way, and I just wanted either you or Maria to verify what I was told.
I would say that's correct, Candy. The online submission, which is different from an electronic copy, I will tell, I understand that, but online submission is only for tenure and or promotion, for those who so choose. And there are a number of faculty who are choosing that option for tenure and promotion. We don't have currently an online submission process for contract renewals.
Thank you.
Which is not to say that people couldn't do an electronic version of their document, but it's not going to be through that flow. There are other issues about safeguard of the information. If you're just going to do a, I'll send it to you as an attachment kind of a thing. So we would prefer not to do that for contract renewals.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Susan J says, didn't the UH guidelines say we were to wear shields? Do you find that somewhere, Susan? Can you get the exact language?
I am looking for it right now, and if I do, I'll be back with you.
Okay, I know that the UH guidelines did not define what facial coverings were. That's what they call them. They just say facial coverings. They don't say a facial covering is X, Y, or Z. It just says facial coverings without saying, I don't think it ever says the word shield, does it? I don't remember that, but it could. Guy Kellogg, I see you saying yes. You remember that in the UH guidelines?
The mail is being delivered, and you may hear my dog saying hello.
Yes, I hear him.
No, I think when you find the document, it'll be in there. There was some ambiguity, and we were given an opportunity last week to use a form to help out the UH and identify areas where there was ambiguity or problems. So I took that, and I don't expect to hear back. I just wanted to contribute. So I shared my feedback that way. I think what stuck out in that document was they said that instructors in face-to-face classrooms are going to be provided face shields.
Oh yeah, you can have, we have them to give to you.
But that had nothing to do with whether, which one is which. I think I understand it the more conservative way of, you cover, I think Brian explained it to me personally 2 meetings ago, one is to protect those around you and one is to protect yourself.
Right.
Right. I did find the guidelines. I do remember exactly what Guy said. It said that we will use face shields and they will be protected. Maybe they've taken comments into consideration because the news section that I found, which I put in the chat, just says face coverings.
Yes.
And what I don't like about their guidelines and what I do like about ours is ours are dated. So when we change them, when the change was made. And I think they just snuck this one in here because they got a lot of feedback. and we have to dig it out. But I just put the link in the chat if anybody else wants to double check.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other thoughts, other questions? And more research. And then you hear 41 new cases, and then you say, okay, wait, I gotta be careful. Oh gosh, thanks, Loger. Bandanas are not effective. Is this allowable for students? I think that our guidelines allow for bandanas, do they not?
Our current guidelines basically mirror the governor's and the mayor's definition of face covering. So yeah, it would allow for bandana. Essentially, the guidelines allow for anything that's going to be covering your nose and your mouth that does not have to be held up by your hand.
Mm.
So if you have a t-shirt, I can't do it with this shirt, but you could go like this as long as you don't have to hold it. And, you know, there's no risk of it falling down, etc. So yeah, Loger would be allowed under our current guidelines. I don't disagree, though. I don't think it's very effective, but the face coverings definition does allow for it.
Can I say something?
Sure, Lisa.
Real quick? So my plan for my nursing students who will be coming for face-to-face lab instruction and skills testing are that we will be providing them a surgical mask, which is much easier to breathe out of, as well as a face shield, because they will be in labs interacting with each other. And so that is pretty much what the hospital is doing when we have to take care of patients anyway to protect ourselves, as well as some, of course, gowns and gloves and other PPE. So that is the way we're choosing to implement the guidelines. I agree with Candy, you know, it's so hard to lecture with those masks on and give instructions. So I was hoping to be able to see some leeway there and have one or the other. And I would choose the face shield myself just because I know it's so much easier to communicate while you're doing instruction. But I mean, I guess the story is ongoing, but it does seem like, you know, wearing the mask and the face shield is extra. But I guess, you know, you just got to assess what are the risks that you have with your students if you can't social distance and they have to interact with each other. So anyway, that's my plan, and we're ordering what we need and hope that we can have the policy that Susan put up. Also did say that it looks like administration is obligated to provide face shields for staff that are interacting with the public. So I just, yeah, noted that. So I'm happy to see that as well. I am still waiting on Brian's brilliant plan for how we're going to get ourselves safe and what plexiglass or you know, social distancing stickers and signage that we are going to have consistently on this campus. So yeah, we're just waiting. And you know, if the public is not going to be allowed on campus, that significantly decreases, you know, the potential risk. Again, for nursing, we are only having one specific cohort of students on campus at each day. So we're not going to be mixing our students. We're just, so it's just some thoughts about planning going forward, depending if you have face-to-face lab courses this fall. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. That is a point. It is evolving. Over time, things may change. We have to be ready to roll with it.
By the way, Louise?
Yes?
I have the face shields that Brian bought for the campus.
Okay.
So if you need, you know, whoever needs one, just let me know the number and who are going to be getting it.
And if you have some really old overhead transparencies and you feel like doing a little arts and crafts, you could recycle those. I've seen it done at other places. Can we see one? Rich, you want to see a mask? Maria's at home. She doesn't have them at home. Brian, you got a mask?
Yeah, I can show it to you. Hold on.
Yeah, and Brian sometimes wears it like a rally cap just because.
Louise?
While I open this up, let me also say that for those individuals who will be wearing this as part of their job on a regular basis, I would strongly what's the other word? It's not a style issue, but it's a fit issue. It's a comfort issue, and you may want to start looking at various models now. This is what this one looks like. I'm sure you guys can't really see it, but this is a face shield. See it? And you wear it like this. And then you talk. We were in a meeting today, Louise and I, with our first in-person meeting in about 3 months. And the individual had it on for 4 hours, and he seemed like he was comfortable. We did not tell him to wear a face covering because I was informed before the meeting that he had breathing issues. And it would have been against the law for me to say, you know, what's your deal? Put a face covering on. But this is what they look like. And you can wear them like this, and you can wear them like this. And you can do a lot of different things with them except see well through these. That's about the only thing you can't do. So anyway, that's what they look like.
Brian and Louise, there's actually a version that I've got that I wear when I'm actually interpreting and I'm on, and it actually fits like a frame, it's like a half glasses frame. So it actually can sit on my glasses, and it's very comfortable. I've actually worn it for a number of hours, and it flares just like the one Brian's showing. You need to make sure you take the film off both sides, then you really can see.
I didn't know that. Well, thank you for the tip.
No, I know.
And look, it says right here. It does say, remove the protective film before using. Jen, where were you a month ago? Oh my gosh.
We did a trial and error with some of the other interpreters. We went, wait a minute, what? How are we supposed to use this? Well, one thing I like about the one that's this half, it's a clear glasses frame, it's like half up, is in that if you're concerned about your do at all, you know, you need to look sort of less surgical when you're in an interaction. It's really quite nice. What's nice about these particular masks is that they're very easy to keep clean. So you can either use a Clorox wipe, or you can use alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and then rinse it. It's super, super versatile, very easy, very light, very effective. Some of them come to about here, some of them come down a little bit further on the chest, so it depends. It's getting hard to order them off of Amazon and have them arrive in a timely fashion. Some are saying they're not going to be available till August, but it's a nice alternative. Again, the jury's still out about how effective they are if they're used solely to protect yourself. It's a protect yourself. I mean, you can definitely sort of see what it looks like at the end of the day going, but small particles or aerosolizations can sort of get up underneath or from the side. So it just sort of depends on the venue that you're in. But that's, again, one reason why teaching American Sign Language, we're doing it synchronously on Zoom, because we've got to be able to see the bottom half of the mouth. And I'm not going to ask students to be at all concerned about their health and safety, and then also being comfortable with trying to find the mask. So I don't think we would be providing shields for the students as well, would we? I don't know.
No.
No.
That's not the plan right now.
I happen to have one of the shields that Jan's talking about, and see, they are nice. And even if you wear glasses, they fit right over your glasses. And on Amazon, there are a few places that sell them in packs of 10. If you look for the packs of 10, I bought like 3 packs of 10 now, and they're like between $25 and $30 for a pack of 10. So that comes out to about $3 a piece, which are a little bit more expensive than I can never remember what these things are called, but with these things that was a joke. So with these, you still, I mean, these are very comfortable. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, you have to remember to take both sides off. But these, it doesn't even feel like you're wearing anything because it's because sunglasses. People are used to wearing sunglasses. So anyway, I think they're both good. All right.
There was a question in the chat about if we have a student who says that he or she can't wear a mask for health reasons, should we have them go through DSSO for clearance? Denine's on the call, I think, and I would say this is not a DSSO issue. I think you would just have to take the student's word that I'm not going to ask them for doctor's note. Denine, I know you're on. I see your name.
Yeah, I think that's correct too, because I think what's going on is they're just trying to figure out what is going to be the kind of the norm now as we go into the classrooms, and how instructors are going to be flexible. And I don't think we're supposed to be asking for documentation about if it's a COVID related or something like that. So yeah, I think that's correct.
Right. So if the student can't wear a face mask or face covering because of their own medical issues, what would be then the solution? Would we ask the student to wear a shield? Would we ask the student to sit far away? Would we ask the student to get on Zoom? Any thoughts, you guys? We're just going to ask the student to leave.
I think, if I may, each one of these situations is going to be handled differently. The baseline for the campus and for all university campuses is that we are requiring face coverings. Face shields are optional, but face coverings are required. And as you potentially, and you will, run into individuals who don't want to wear a mask, you'll just have to cross each of those bridges. If you have a student who showed up for the last 10 or last 3 classes with a face covering on, all of a sudden shows up and says, hey, I can't do this because I have a doctor's note, there is something a little sketchy about that. Same with employees. We're lucky we live in Hawaii. People are a little bit cooler about this issue, but I don't think we're immune to the problems that are going to pop up. You see it every single day on YouTube and on the news about guys going to Costco and becoming real pains about this, to the point where police got to be called in, and little old ladies at 85 years old decide to throw temper tantrums on the floor. But you just got to cross each of those bridges. I hope we don't run into major protests of students going across the campus and saying we don't want to wear masks, but I don't think that we're immune to the same issues that are befalling the mainland right now. There's no magic bullet for any of these things.
So I think there are some questions here too about what happens. You're the teacher and the kid comes to the class and refuses to wear a mask and says, no, I'm just not going to do it. The recourse is that it is a campus policy, it is a campus rule, and you can invoke the student conduct code and the student conduct code procedures. There's a part of the student conduct code that talks about jeopardizing the health and safety of others, which is what that student would be doing if he or she did not wear a mask. So there is recourse.
Yeah, and I think as a disability, we're going to cross a lot of bridges as we go forward, and there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to work through. And so, looking back at our guidelines, or I don't know, maybe even developing policy as we get through these situations, it's going to shape things as we go forward, because we can't predict. But I do know that these things are going to come up, and they're going to claim disability and all of these things, both for employees and for students. So, yeah, we probably will have more conversations about that as we go forward.
Right. And there are all of these situations that we're trying to figure out now, and there will be some that we don't think of that will happen as well. So Hal asked, we need an official policy for this. Well, that's the guidelines. That's what's going to determine what are the rules on the campus. So it's not up to the individual faculty member to make this up. It is in the guidelines, and students will also have access to those guidelines. And any faculty member who starts the class and is dealing with students face-to-face can certainly include whatever significant parts of the guidelines they want to put in their syllabus about how to operate in the class. That's perfectly acceptable as well. It's not an individual kind of a thing. And we can say, you know, as all of the places where you want to go and do business, you can't go in without a mask, and masks are going to be required, that Mayor Caldwell says. So if you're going to come on campus, you need to have a mask. If students are sneezing and you ask them, are you sick? Do you have a fever? I mean, I sneeze and I don't have COVID-19, so you can't sort of shun the student because they sneezed in your class. I think you want to help them understand that they should be covering their mouth and not be sneezing all over everybody. And you can ask them, do you have a fever? Do you have a cough? Even, you know, those are the kinds of things that everybody needs to be asking themselves every day before coming to school. But the guidelines specify where physical distancing is not possible, but in classrooms will be socially distanced, right? You may and you may not. If you're a teacher that walks around the classroom, you're not going to be physically distanced. You're going to be walking around the classroom. Suggestions for standard language. Okay, in the return to instruction guidelines, you'll have some of that. We can't ask for a doctor's note, but we can ask them if they have a fever or feel sick. They're supposed to be self-checking. That's what they're supposed to be asking. If you see someone in your class who is obviously not feeling well, you can ask them. If they're not feeling well, they should go home. If you have attendance policies in your class and you're suggesting that people go home, you should really rethink that. We are trying to get people to go home if they feel sick, not to come to school if they feel sick. So consider what that means to you if you have an appendix attendance policy that says if you miss 2 classes, you're going to get dropped a grade. Be thinking about that. Mimi's asking if we have F1 students who stay home and take purely online classes. It's possible. There are some I-20 consequences to that, and HIC is working through that, but it is possible for students not to come back, but to take classes online if they are continuing students. If they're new students, we have issues. But if they're continuing students, they can take online classes from home, but there are consequences to their I-20 status and if they intend on coming back some other time.
I thought the new guidelines on that said that the college still has to manage the I-20 and not cancel it, and that's different from our understanding a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, that's why they have to figure that out a little bit more.
I see.
So the old way was you canceled it and the student had to reapply from scratch to come back. But the latest thing says, no, you got to still manage it. So that was new. That was new. So we still got to work through that, but it is possible. Bye, Shannon. I haven't called one person on my list, Shannon, just so you know. Other thoughts? Oh, we're past 2 o'clock, you guys. Anything more you'd like to say or ask or comment? Brian, are the guidelines still up for comments, or is that closed for now?
No, it's closed for now. I'm trying to finalize this thing. The goal was to try to get it to the campus by this evening or about 5 p.m. today. I am going
maybe till Friday.
Sorry?
When I made the announcement, I gave you some
under
promise, over deliver.
I was going to over deliver on the under promise, but yeah, I'm looking at about 82 suggestions or corrections, some of which actually have to be written. So I don't know. I'm not hopeful for a 3-hour window here, but I will get this to the rest of the campus ASAP, and they'll be released. They'll actually be released from Louise to the rest of the campus via email, and we'll post as soon as we can. We'll work with South to get it posted.
Okay. Other thoughts, other suggestions, other questions?
LP, I'm running. I got to go to another meeting. See you guys.
Okay. Bye. Thanks, Brian.
Same here.
Oh, all right then. It looks like we're going to lose the ELT and mostly everybody else. So if anything of urgent information comes up, I'll be sure to send that out to everybody. In the meantime, we'll see you next week, Wednesday, 220 Grill, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. You got all the information. Thanks to everybody, and you can unmute yourselves and say goodbye now. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Bye.